Hey everybody, it's Metalwargod with another video update and another huge vinyl haul used from Fargo Moorhead. Again, picked them up last Friday, and God, I'm very, very pleased with what I have found. And like I say, I don't get up there too often. Anyway, you've seen it in a video before this of some stuff I got. Well, here's the remainder of the vinyl that I picked up. Of course, I found this. I had this, but again, it was my collection of old. One of my favorite all-time golden earring albums here is Switch. I mean, great Holly or Dutch hard rock. Doesn't get much better than this. Some golden earring, and this one is actually out of the 1975. Probably an album, probably golden earring people are most familiar with, of course, is Radar Love. That's probably the only one you had to ever hear on radio. And then there was another one later that I'm going to show you right after this, the album. And they have a great discography. This is one of them, probably one of my favorites. Anyway, here's some golden earring. We'll switch. Another find that I found, of course, I'm referring to another golden earring, is Cut. And of course, this one here, another radio staple, was Twilight Zone. This one came out in 1982 on Polygram Records. Cover's in pretty decent shape. Shows very little ring wear. There is a little bit down here, but killer Dutch hard rock with George Koymans on vocal, and still around today, still kicking out hard rock, and good to see the old bands still doing it. Another old band, they're still around. I'm not sure if they're still touring or doing albums, but one of my all-time favorites, Slade, a classic album from the English band, of course. Quiet Riot was a huge Slade follower. Of course, they did Mama We're All Crazy Now, and you just can't beat this. It's classic. It's all on Polydor Records. This came out in 1972. Slade, a gem. Of course, Gem Imports. I remember this sticker here, Gem Imports. Used to see it all the time in record shops in Duluth, Minnesota, back in the late 70s. So another good find. Actually, the cover is in decent shape. Another band from the 70s. I used to have this as well. Great hard rock from England. Tucky Buzzard. Rainbow Rider is probably the most well-known song in this album. Of course, this came out in, I believe it was 1973. Tucky Buzzard, All Right on the Night. Classic album, classic hard rock. Probably obscure gems that people really don't have. Back in the 70s, people were, they bought what they heard on the radio, basically, and their bands were so much more than that in the underground. Yes, underground back in the 70s was there. Tucky Buzzard. I seen these in the shop here the last time I was up there, and I was very surprised that they were still there. And I'm talking about Wasp. Of course, live in the raw. Cover is in immaculate condition, and I just couldn't believe they were still there. And of course, the insert, great shape, very little wear. The vinyl, it's in not too bad a shape. But that's what you get when you get used vinyl. Sure, you can be careful what you buy, but sometimes you're just not going to come across the stuff. So when you do come across it and is in fairly decent shape, you pick it up. And I think this was probably $5 at the most, but good find there from Wasp. Also, another one that was in there, that I was surprised, another Wasp. Inside the Electric Circus. And let's see, I'm trying to see. This came out in 1988 on Capitol Records. And, you know, you don't see much of this stuff around. You see it on eBay all the time, but of course most of it is going for astronomical prices. And again, this is $5. Vinyl's in really good shape. And, but, you know, sometimes the inserts are terrible, so I put my own insert in there with the static free. And, again, I just don't understand sometimes why people give this stuff up. Well, I guess I do. I did one time, and I guess I know my reason, but I'm not going to say. But anyway, no ring wear, great cover, immaculate shape. And the second place I was at, of course, found the Rock Goddess, Hell Hath No Fury. And this was in 1984 on the A&M Records label. Good find. I'm glad I found this. You can't go wrong with it. Of course, Jody Turner, and Dee O'Malley were the core of the band. 3 members, great stuff. Can't go wrong with it. Killer female hard rock metal of the 80s. Band I had in my collection at one time as well. And I'm talking about this gem, Allied Forces from Triumph, another 3-piece out of Canada. Seems like a lot of the vinyl I'm finding are a lot of Canadian bands, mix of you know, hard rock, heavy metal, but anyway, classic gem, Triumph, Allied Forces. One of my all-time favorites, guitarist of the 70s, still doing it today, just recently came out with Retro Rocket. Of course, I'm talking about Pat Travers, and Putting It Straight. His 70s material were pure classic hard rock at its finest. He later progressed into more of a bluesy sound, and like I said, the last one, Retro Rocket, he went back to more of a hard rock sound, which he was probably more known for. And anyway, good stuff here. Pat Travers, Putting It Straight. Another Pat Travers I come across. I think he changed a little bit here, but it's still a classic hard rock album. I'm talking about Radioactive. Good stuff here. I mean, this one came out in, let's see, this one came out in 81. Putting It Straight, I think, came out in like 75, 76, or a little bit earlier than that. I'd have to look, but good stuff. Pat Travers, Radioactive. Another classic band out of the 70s, Stars. Very underrated hard rock band. Never really got its just due in the music community, but one of my favorites, Stars, Violation on the Capitol Records. This one came out in 1977, and they put out 4 albums of various. There are other albums out there that you can find that are not the big 4 that you typically see with. This one, of course, this is Violation, Attention Choppers, Stars, and I'm missing one, and I just can't think of the name right there, but Stars, Violation. Oh yeah. When I seen these, I couldn't resist. Robin Trower. Classic hard rock, bluesy rock from the 70s. And of course, this one is For Earth Below. And this one, let's see, this one came out. Oh, it doesn't really say. Sometimes if you look on the spine, it'll say, and 1975. Killer stuff here from Robin Trower. Of course, the one I'm really familiar with, I do have. I'm going to show you, but anyway, Robin Trower from Earth Below. Some more Robin Trower, also in the same store, Passion. And this one is from 1986-87, and you know, still good Robin Trower. Robin kind of is more known for his bluesy style now, just as Pat Travers was in the 80s, 90s, early 2000s. And so anyway, some more Robin Trower with Passion. And the one I think everybody is familiar with, this classic, phenomenal album, Bridge of Sighs, of course, has Day of the Eagle, This Fool and Me, and it has Lady Love, a little bit of Sympathy, classic Robin Trower guitar-driven hard rock, and just a great slice of 70s heaven right here, and probably one of my favorite of all time from Robin Trower right here. Good stuff. Of course, Queensryche. I never had a lot of it in my collection back in the 80s. I did have a few, but they were on cassette, and of course I got this one. I seen this one, I got the Warning, and of course this one came out in 1984 on EMI. Classic, early good Queensryche metal of the 80s, progressive stylings with power metal yearnings, but good stuff from Queensryche. One of my all-time favorite bands, or at least one of them, probably in my top 10 of all time, Nazareth from Scotland. And of course this one is Malice in Wonderland, and this one came out in 1980. Great slice of bluesy hard rock, not really totally blues, but hard rock in general. Great stuff from a Nazareth band. A lot of other stuff is hard to come by, and even when you do see it, it's very hacked up. Covers are not in very good shape, but I come across a good version of this, so I picked it up. Nazareth, Malice in Wonderland. Another one, I was really surprised. I was actually surprised to see this because I've never seen it in the vinyl section. New, I mean back in the 80s. Nazareth, The Full Circle. And of course this came out in 1980. This of course is known for, let's see, what is it? Dressed to Kill and Cocaine live version. And of course, gotta love the cover. The jockey riding a dolphin. And The Full Circle, one of their, one of many albums. Of course, this has Manny Charlton on guitars. It has Daryl Sweet on drums, Dan McCafferty on vocals, and Pete Agnew on bass. The classic Nazareth lineup. Something a little different. Back in the 70s, I got into a lot of good southern hard rock. Probably a lot of it would be classified as country rock today, or country. And of course, I'm talking about the classic Ozark Mountain Daredevils, and probably believe their best album ever they released. Of course, this came out in, I want to say, 1972, 73. It came out in 1973. And of course, Country Girl, Spaceship Orion, the classic Chicken Train song. I mean, it has Standing on Rock, all the classics from Ozark in their early days. And this is probably the finest one. I mean, Ozark is good no matter what you hear, but this is probably the classic one that everybody is probably pretty familiar with. Again, some Loverboy. I mean, the cover is in absolute great condition. This one came out in '83, of course. This has Hot Girls in Love, Queen of the Broken Hearts, Strike Zone. To me, not as heavy as the first debut album, but still a great Canadian hard rock band that put out some good stuff. Back in the 80s, of course, this one, like I say, it came out in 1983, and the self-titled one came out in 1980. Still a great band, and I was glad to see that I found this. And yep, some more Loverboy. Kind of when they were starting to change a little bit. Still hard. Still had some good hits. Loving Every Minute of It, Lead a Double Life, Dangerous, Bullet in the Chamber. I mean, still a great album. And this came out in 1985. Still a great stuff from a Canadian classic band. I mean, and they're still touring today. They're working on some new material that's coming out, I believe, this spring or early summer. So, yeah, good Loverboy here. Loving every minute of it. A band I think really defined progressive rock of the 70s, with the violins, the keyboards, the great vocals. This is a little bit later on, Kansas, and Vinyl Confessions, which came out in 1982. Of course, you have Mask, which came out in the 70s. You have, now I'm going to forget the names. Anyway, good stuff from Kansas. Glad to see this. Cover's in not bad shape. Vinyl's not in bad shape. Was just happy to see this. And last but not least, on the huge haul, another Kansas with Audiovisions from 1980. Probably not the most well-known of Kansas albums, but if you're a fan of Kansas and you love Kansas no matter what, probably something you'd still want in your collection. And good stuff here. So anyway, that is the haul ahead. I'll have another video update in a couple weeks, and as I always say, keep it loud, keep it heavy, keep it metal, and I'll see you next time on Metalwargod's video update.